So guys, welcome to Heartbeats.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
You guys are on the Messenger's 10th anniversary tour. So how's it going?
It's going great so far. We're about a week of shows in, and tonight's the last night of the Scandinavian leg of the tour here in Helsinki. And it's cool to be back here. We haven't played a club show in Helsinki in a few years, so we're looking forward to playing tonight.
I remember you were in 2009 and your another guitar player was stepping on some a nail. And
Classic.
he was on his sandals. So you
Really?
guys, you guys or was it bass player? I don't remember, but
I don't remember
yeah,
either.
it was. I was like, you guys are on a tour and everything's crazy happening.
Yeah, no, I mean, so far this tour's been actually really smooth.
Yeah.
You know, we've had the turnouts have been great. We haven't had any like really major, technical difficulties or anything like that. And we've had our driver unfortunately had to leave for family a family issue, but we've had a great driver since today. So it's really been like a very relaxing tour for us, which is not always the case when we're over here because of the things that JB was saying. Far away from home, kind of. It's hard to connect with family, culture, and lifestyles. Relatively different at times. But it's been really good. So hopefully the only thing that's crazy on this tour is just the crowds, man.
Yeah.
What about the first tour with Messengers? Do you remember that time?
I remember, and it's funny because Helsinki was the very first day of our headline tour in 2008 when we were doing a lot of Messenger stuff. I think we flew in to Helsinki and played Club Nostri, the first show of the tour, and it was the best show of the tour. Like, it was the biggest crowd we had for the entire tour. And
Talking about the naked kid.
oh yeah, and yeah, everyone remembers the naked kid from that show. Some kid got on stage towards the end of our set, completely naked and stage dove. And if you're out there, I want to just tell you that
We did not forget you.
no, you're not forgotten, and you're kind of like very important. You're like in ABR folklore. So thank you. Thank you.
That's it, man.
So,
Yeah.
in present day, how do you feel playing that album?
I can't believe how many opportunities there are to bang my head. It's like non-stop breakdowns and headbanging spots. So much so that I like get a sore neck by like song 6 in the set. It's kind of
Kind of a thing.
yeah, it's a bit of a thing. Jake?
Yeah, no, it's it's great. It's cool to play the songs and kind of see where we came from, and then because we play songs after that are other songs from other albums, and it's kind of cool to see where we've come, in my opinion. But they're a lot of fun. I mean, they're in my opinion they're easy for me. They're not very challenging. But there is like certain techniques and things that I did vocally on that album that I don't really tend to do a lot of on most recent material. So it's kind of cool to kind of go back to that that way of screaming.
So you're going back to that and not trying to this style you're doing now. So you're going back to that style. What was in the original?
Yeah. So there's like a lot of like long screams on Messenger's album, and I don't really do that anymore. So it's kind of fun to just go back and go, oh wow, like, and I thought that this was cool, and it was for the time, But it's just kind of cool to see where my head was as a vocalist in Messengers versus where it is now, after all these years of progressing. So it's kind of cool.
So your new album, Phantom Anthem, will be released.
What about it?
Yeah, it will be released on October 6th. So we've tasted a little bit the new single, Invincible Enemy. What can we expect from the new album?
For it to sound just like Messengers. I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe at parts, yeah. Parts. There are breakdowns. There's many breakdowns on it. You can expect it to be. This is the question that's always like, how do you talk up your new album? I think. It sounds like August Burns Red. I mean, if you think that the first single we put out, Invisible Enemy, sounds like us, then I think that's a good representation for the album. There's a lot of stuff going on. I've been saying that it's a dense album. There's just a lot of music to digest. The songs are long, and the whole album it's over 55 minutes, so it's a lot of music to get through. And I think that once you spend some time with the record, it's really going to grow on you and probably rise up to be one of the, one of your favorite August Burns Red records. But I think the first time you listen to it, you're going to go, that's really cool, but I need to listen to that again because there's just a lot going on.
So not easy listening record.
It's not easily listening, but have any of our records ever been easy listening?
Yeah.
No, they haven't.
No, yeah, I agree. I just want to say I agree with him. I think it's it's something that really you have to digest and because there's so many different facets to the songs that there's some parts that you don't even really recognize until you take a moment to really just listen to the actual whole section.
It's complex. I think that's a good word to describe it. I'd say it's our most complex record to date.
Mm-hmm. It's good. It's solid though.
Yeah,
Cool.
I can't wait for you to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
We all read the devastating news about a musician taking their own lives. So, what would be the good advice to the people who are going through some tough times?
Yeah, I mean, I would just let them know that they're not alone. Everybody has issues and deals with something in life, and the fact that in reality, you don't have to go through those troubles by yourself. There are plenty of people that, if that you can open up to, and that friends and people to lean on. If you're struggling with any type of situation. I think the key issue with some of these artists, is that they struggle with depression or self-harm or whatnot, and they felt like they were alone and that no one really cared or anything like that. And it's difficult for musicians too because they have they're put on the spotlight, so it's hard for them to find people, confidants that they can vent or express truly how they feel because they could be scared that it's going to come out or the fact that it's really hard to understand where someone's coming from if you haven't experienced that. You're not going to understand the struggles that I deal with as a musician, a touring musician, because you've never toured before. It makes sense, right? Yeah. So, but I'm not alone. In that aspect where I know other people who have gone through things that I've gone through, so I can discuss it with them. And so I would say the important thing for people who are struggling with anything like that, self-harm or suicidal tendencies, is to reach out and acknowledge that you have an issue with someone who can help hold you accountable, so that you can start taking steps. Because the first real step in finding a path of healing is being able to admit that you have an issue. It's not saying that you're, maybe the issue is a deeply hearted root issue where it's like, man, this happened to me. But you need to verbalize that, and you need to let that out, and you need to write it out. You need to talk to someone about that, and that's the beginning process of finding a process that will work for you, to be able to get healed of that. Don't keep it inside. Don't try to smother it with alcohol or substance abuse or things like that, because you're not supposed to carry it by yourself. You're not supposed to live with that on your own. So.
Well, I would just say I feel like mental health and mental health problems often get pushed aside for some reason. They're not talked about, or that people are looked down upon for having something wrong with their head, that maybe you just need to seek professional help and address it, because it's a very real problem, and it's these people are suffering from medical conditions. I mean, it's real and it's scary, but it can be treated, and it's important to seek treatment, I think. And like Jake said, treating it with alcohol and substance abuse isn't going to fix it. So it's important, to, like Jake was saying, talk about it and find help, professional help.
Can you tell us about HeartSupport? Why did you create it, and why it is so important to you?
Yeah. So I started HeartSupport about 8 years ago. Basically, just from going to the merch table after shows, talking to our fans, realizing that the music and the lyrical content that we have was very encouraging to them, but they started to share a lot of their stories of struggling with addiction, self-harm, sexual assault, spiritual issues, things like that. And so, in all reality, I'm a big man of my faith. And so I'm praying to God one night, and I was like, hey, I'd really like to do something about this, something more than just getting on a stage and performing and then leaving the crowd. I'd like to make a deeper impact. And so the idea that came to my mind after praying about that was HeartSupport. And so I basically wrote it all down and, spent some of my own money and found people who believed in the vision that I had and the direction that I wanted to go. And now we've written a self-harm book. We've got that published. We have a 6-step program. Our website, HeartSupport.com, gets over 20,000 people that visit there a month, where they can talk openly and honestly about their struggles, no matter what it is. There's no judgment. Doesn't matter the color of your skin, who you're in love with, what you've done, what's been done to you, or what you believe in. We're accepting of all people. And we have interviews with musicians in our genre of music. Day to Remember, For Today, Memphis Mayfire. There's like 50 plus. Pierce the Veil. What's his name from Black Veil Brides. The list kind of goes on with interviews of theirs, giving their struggles and their messages of hope. And we also have a lot more at the website, at the community. But ultimately, my desire is for me to bring a community for this genre of music, so that they can find avenues of healing and not feeling alone. And ultimately, I hope that they see what we do, my team and I, as a way to unconditionally love this music scene. And that comes from God, from Jesus, through us. So we'd love for people to understand that God is a God who loves unconditionally. It doesn't matter, again, the same thing that I say is the same thing that he says. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter, what you've believed in. It doesn't matter who you're in love with. It doesn't matter what you've done or what's been done to you. God loves you. But some people struggle with that concept, and that's okay. I would prefer just to act on what I've learned in my relationship and try to love people that way. So that's what HeartSupport is. But it's just like I said, it's important for people that struggle with certain things, big things, small things. They all can carry the same amount of weight depending on who you are and how you perceive it. But for you to be able to take that step and discuss it with someone who actually wants to listen, who's not going to judge you and wants to help you.
Yeah. What makes your heart beat?
What makes my heart beat? I think what makes my heart beat is probably just trying to be what God desires me to be, a loving person, and to be able to do things to show people that God loves them. I don't really have. The band's great, or whatever, but that's just that's gonna pass. You know what I mean? I want to beat for something that's going to be there for my entire life, and the only thing that has been with me my entire life is God. So I guess that would have to be it, and yeah. So that's why I'm a Christian. Yeah. Yep.
Yes. Thanks, man.
Cool, man.
Have a great show.
Thank you, brother.